This is Mac OS Ken.
More iPhone 12 news, Apple resurrects MTV, and the Peanuts gang has found a new home. It's Tuesday, the 20th of October, 2020. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by Sunbasket. Get $35 off your order using promo code MacOSKen at sunbasket.com/MacOSKen. This show is also sponsored by MacPaw, makers of Clean My Mac X. Clean My Mac X is all-in-one cleaning and optimization software for your Mac. It declutters your Mac and runs maintenance scripts to keep your Mac's performance at its peak. Clean My Mac X finds the clutter in every corner of Mac OS. It cleans unneeded files like outdated caches, broken downloads, logs, and more. You can remove tons of junk that's hiding in mails and photos, and even locate gigabytes of large hidden files, like the over 22 gigabytes it found and cleaned out of my Mac earlier this week. Regular maintenance can keep your Mac spinning like a top. Take care of it with the push of a virtual button and Clean My Mac X. Learn more about Clean My Mac X and download it for free at macpaw.app/macosken. That's MACPAW, macpaw.app/macosken. That's macpaw.app/macosken for Clean My Mac X. And a big thanks to MacPaw for sponsoring today's show. If you ordered an iPhone 12 or iPhone 12 Pro last week, there is a pretty good chance your hot newness is in transit. Cult of Mac ran a piece on Monday saying that shipments of the wrap rods had begun ahead of this Friday's launch. According to the report, many customers, though not all, can now track their shipments through UPS. Understand, though, you'll be doing that until Friday. The way the cult puts it, you shouldn't expect to receive yours before Friday, even if tracking information tells you it will arrive earlier. Apple works closely with partners like UPS to ensure that new devices don't get delivered before their official launch dates. Although a few units have slipped through the net in previous years, it's very rare. There's no transparency to Apple's supply chain, and the company doesn't say how many of anything it sells anymore. Won't stop analysts from guesstimating. Philip Elmer DeWitt's Apple 3.0 ran pieces of a couple of analyst notes on Monday, one from JP Morgan analyst Samik Chatterjee and another from Piper Sandler analyst Harsh Kumar. Mr. Kumar's notes seem to be geared at tech in general, not Apple specifically. That said, last week's newsiest news came from Cupertino. Quoting his note, the biggest event of the week was the Apple iPhone 12 announcement, where the company introduced 4 new 5G iPhones. We view the new iPhone pricing as very compelling given the functionality. We note shipment expectations continue to be in the 73 million to 74 million range for calendar 2020, but Apple continues to push suppliers to increase production. The celebrated Mr. K has an outperform rating on Apple shares. His price target on the shares is $130. As for Mr. Chatterjee, the JP Morgan analyst is reading lead times for iPhone orders like tea leaves, seeing in them great strength for iPhone 12 Pro. Quoting his note, we see lead times tracking on average at 13 to 24 days for iPhone 12 and iPhone 12 Pro, with lead times for the 12 Pro materially higher than the 12. Additionally, the early lead times are quite similar to what we saw with the SE launch, and positive demand drivers should lead to expansion of lead times heading into week 2 of ordering based on the precedent set for the SE launch earlier this year. Now, the headline on the Apple 3.0 piece says, JP Morgan, iPhone 12 Pro outselling the cheaper iPhone 12. The thing is, I don't read that in the note. While Apple does not give sales figures anymore, if the Pro is outselling iPhone 12 in a big way, that's the kind of thing Apple might allude to on its next earnings call. That is set for Thursday, the 29th of October at the usual time. Whether the Pro is outselling iPhone 12, both are sold out for all intents and purposes. For Mr. Chatterjee, that means nothing to do but keep loving the stock. He's got an overweight rating on Apple shares. His price target on the shares is $150. While the JP Morgan note doesn't seem to say outright that iPhone 12 Pro orders beat orders for iPhone 12, there is support for that idea from Young MC. CNBC ran highlights of a note from TF International analyst Ming-Chi Kuo on Monday. This looks to have been the same note about which I told you yesterday, though with a bit more detail. Yesterday I told you of his belief that once iPhone 12 mini and iPhone 12 Pro Max come out, the opening weekend for the iPhone 12 line will have beaten the opening weekend for iPhone 11. CNBC hit that assertion as well before diving into other points. Among those, the iPhone 11 price cut to $599 caused weaker pre-order demand for iPhone 12. That lends support to the idea that the iPhone 12 Pro beat, or at least might have beaten, iPhone 12 in the first 72 hours. It also kind of looks like the Apple watching world might have underestimated China. The two things we've heard around China and new iPhones so far are that carriers in the Middle Kingdom won't be going as aggressive on subsidies as carriers elsewhere, and China didn't get to watch the high-speed event for reasons that are still unknown. The message seems to have gotten through anyway. CNBC had Kuo indicating the iPhone 12 Pro, which has better cameras than the base model, sold better than expected in the first wave of pre-orders thanks to 5G's broad availability in China. Kuo said China represented 35% to 45% of iPhone Pro demand. iPhone 12's OLED display may make the case for AppleCare Plus, and the case for a case now that you think of it. iMore highlights a report from The Verge highlighting the cost of repairing the display on iPhone 12 versus the display on iPhone 11. According to the report, repairing an iPhone 12 display will cost $279. That's up from the $199 it would cost to replace the LCD display on an iPhone 11. The reason is simple in iMore's estimation: better panel equals more cost. More cost, that is, unless you have AppleCare Plus. Display repair with Apple coverage still runs $29. Yet another tiny update for Apple Watch Series 3, meant to solve a fairly sizable problem. Apparently some people's Series 3 watches are restarting unbidden every so often. iDownload blog says watchOS 7.0.3 should keep that from happening. Tweak after tweak after tweak. It was just last week that Apple released watchOS 7.0.2. That one was meant to stop persistent battery drain and address a few other issues. Hopefully, if you didn't update to that one, you can go ahead and skip to the next. watchOS 7.0.3 is free. You can access it through the Watch app on the iPhone to which your watch is paired. A bigger problem than battery drain or unexpected restarts is when a watch goes sort of melty. Okay, melty is an exaggeration, but there are reports, including one from Mac Rumors, that some Apple Watch SEs are experiencing issues with overheating. Citing a post on Reddit, the piece says, there have been 6 reports from Apple Watch SE owners in South Korea who have had their Apple Watches get hot and malfunction, with a yellow spot appearing in the upper right corner of the watch. All of the owners who have experienced the issues were wearing the watch when it got hot on the wrist or when charging, and then it later exhibited the display issue. What no one knows is why. Specifically, why is it happening, and why is it only happening to a few folks in South Korea? Mac Rumors figures there may be a problem specific to watches manufactured in a certain area and shipped to South Korea, or it could be a more widespread issue, and reports just haven't come in yet. More news in a moment, but first a word from Sunbasket, delivering oven-ready meals that are fast, fresh, and delicious. Want to skip the grocery store, yet still enjoy delicious, healthy food without having to go out? Do it with fresh and ready meals from Sunbasket. Delivered weekly, Sunbasket's fresh and ready meals are made with organic fresh produce, sustainable seafood, and meats that are free of antibiotics, hormones, and steroids. Also, they're tasty. Their chefs have won Michelin Awards and the James Beard Award. I will say everything I've had from Sunbasket has been fantastic. And the fresh and ready meals are easy, ready to heat in the oven or microwave, which means dinner could be ready in under 10 minutes. Give Sunbasket a try. Right now, Sunbasket is offering $35 off your order when you go right now to sunbasket.com/macOSKen and enter promo code macOSKen at checkout. That's sunbasket.com/macOSKen and enter promo code macOSKen at checkout for $35 off your order. sunbasket.com/macOSKen and enter promo code macOSKen. And a big thanks to Sunbasket for sponsoring today's show. Apple launched a new thing on Monday that got me ridiculously excited. Wherefore, I know not. Ars Technica says Apple launched a 24-hour streaming video channel called Apple Music TV that will harken back to the early days of MTV by playing mostly music videos, but in this case, it's ad-free. Kinda. I mean, the whole thing's an ad, right? For Apple Music, for the musicians, but nobody's going to try to sell you flex tape, so that's cool. Monday seems to have been a marathon of the top 100 music videos streamed on Apple Music, repeated at least a couple of times. That'll be replaced by human-curated music videos the vast majority of the time, according to Ars. A piece from Variety says those will be broken up by interstitial video pulled from interviews featured on the Apple Music radio stations, Apple Music One, Hits, and Country, but, no ads. It really does have an MTV feel, including special events like the one hitting on Thursday. That's when Apple Music TV will host a day-long Bruce Springsteen event featuring videos and interviews to coincide with Springsteen's new album, but seriously, no ads. Okay, I think I've made my point on that. Kidding aside, I am really looking forward to seeing what Apple does with this thing. Unfortunately, the channel is US only. Folks in the States can access it either through Apple's TV app or the Apple Music app. No subscription required. Apple Music is really pulling out all the stops for the boss. Not only will Apple Music TV feature Bruce Springsteen on Thursday, iDownload says Apple is hosting an album release event on its Apple Music platform the same day. The event will be hosted by Apple Music's Zane Lowe, and it will be part of the new Music Daily playlist that Apple typically updates on a weekly basis. Come one, come some of you. The piece says there are actually tickets involved with this album release event. Hopefully you didn't want to go because registration for the event is already closed. And finally today, Apple TV Plus is your new home, Charlie Brown. After educational initiatives like Snoopy in Space and Peanuts in Space, Secrets of Apollo 10, and the recent announcement of the Snoopy show for Apple TV Plus, it's not totally surprising to hear that the whole Peanuts gang is officially moving to the Cupertino streamer. In a press release on Monday, Apple announced an expanded partnership with the kids' content company Wild Brain, Lee Mendelson Film Productions, and Peanuts Worldwide. The deal makes Apple TV Plus the home for all things Peanuts, according to the release. That includes new original series, new specials, and yes, old specials, like It's the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown, A Charlie Brown Thanksgiving, and that staple of winter break, A Charlie Brown Christmas. Kind of an earth-shattering announcement to the 8-year-old inside of me. All three of those specials were 100% appointment viewing when I was a kid, long before we used the term appointment viewing. The good news is kids who don't have an Apple TV Plus subscription will still be able to see the shows, provided they can access the Apple TV app. It's the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown started streaming on Apple TV Plus today for subscribers. It'll be available to watch for free from the 30th of October until the 1st of November, according to Apple. A Charlie Brown Thanksgiving will start streaming for subscribers on the 18th of November, with free availability from the 25th until the 27th of November. And finally, A Charlie Brown Christmas will stream exclusively on Apple TV Plus starting the 4th of December. Folks can watch it for free from the 11th of December until December 13th. As mentioned earlier, there's also new stuff on the way. In addition to the series The Snoopy Show, specials are planned for New Year's Eve, Earth Day, Mother's Day, and heading back to school. There's also a documentary planned marking the 70th anniversary for Peanuts. That'll be produced by Imagine Documentaries, which restores my hope for Imagine Documentaries. Coming up in a few minutes, Daily Tech News Show's Tom Merritt talks new kit from Apple. He's got a new Apple Watch, he's getting a new iPhone, and it'll probably be a few years before he can say either of those things again. Find out why in a few minutes, wherever you get podcasts. Yesterday on macOS Can Live, I was practically giddy over the Apple Music TV announcement for reasons I still can't explain. Look for the audio podcast, macOS Can Live, wherever you get podcasts, or catch it live tomorrow, 3:30 Pacific, 6:30 Eastern, at youtube.com/kenray. macOS Can, brought to you by me, and sponsored by MacPaw, makers of Clean My Mac X. Your Mac as good as new. Learn more about Clean My Mac X and download it for free at macpaw.app/macOSken. This show is also sponsored by Sunbasket. Get $35 off your order using promo code macOSken at sunbasket.com/macOSken. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media, online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. Info at macosken.com or call 716-780-4080. Catch you live later today at youtube.com/kenray. And of course, we will talk again tomorrow. Until then, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.